Hello anybody, and welcome back to Let's Play Banjo-Kazooie. I'm Mr. Devious, or just Deeb, and in the last episode, we started Treasure Trove Cove and got half the Jiggies, ending with Nipper and defeating him because he was the boss of this world. And in today's episode, we are going to be getting the rest of the stuff in this world. Yeah. So, now that we've got the spring shock jump pads from bottles, that's one tutorial that we've learned. However, we're immediately going to learn another one, although not quite away, because now that we've basically made a full circle around the island, we've taken care of most of the extraneous stuff, but not the central stuff. Not just yet. We want to go up here first, and we want to go up to this pirate ship, where we will have a little thing to do. This is the Salty Hippo. And we're not going to talk to Bottles Just Let and learn how to fly, because that's what we're going to do, because the game constantly tells you this is where you're going to fly. So that's not a spoiler. But now, before we talk to this hippo, we're going to climb up here and get ourselves a Mumbo token. Like I was saying in the last episode, it's a good idea to just get everything as you go.
Hey there, I'm Captain Blubber, and I lost me treasure when me ship crashed.
Well, go find it then, Blubberguts.
But I can't swim. Can you help an old sea hippo?
Sure, we'll help find it for you.
So he lost his gold, but we need to find more. So if you just immediately break into his ship, you're gonna find some gold. And we're gonna go underwater, get a nice crossfade. Some of the nicest music crossfading in this game is when you go underwater and it takes an aquatic theme. It becomes much more ambient and much more fitting and allows... I mean, it wouldn't sound the same. Look, even the gold talks to you. Ahoy there, I be Blubber's treasure. And we're gonna get out of here because this whole ship is filled with water. How did you even crash in here in this way? How? How did you get in here? How did you do this? It would make more sense if you crashed over there, but... Oh, and I'm guessing those boxes are all his cargo. I've never noticed that detail before. So we throw his gold over there, and he's like, "Aye, that be half of me gold." I don't even remember what I was doing here. When I first played this game, I didn't realize where to look for the next piece of gold, and the answer is you actually have to go in the water, and there's an opening on the side of the ship. And I don't know why it took me so long when I was a kid to notice that. Probably because I was dumb. I mean, a lot of people were dumb when they were kids, and I was no exception. We're coming up on the total number of notes that we need to get to proceed through the game, though, so that's nice. And here we have the rest of not Gruntilda's gold, but Blubber's gold. This is one of the few instances in the game when people say gold, they really just mean gold. Most of the time when people are talking about gold, they're talking about Jiggies. Like pretty much every other time in the game. This is the only time gold is just gold. So we throw his other gold over there, and he's all happy.
Me treasure, thank you, me hearties. Take this reward. I'm off to spend.
Also, he burps constantly when he talks. I don't know if you heard that, but he does. So in exchange for gold, we get a gold piece, and we're all happy. But the real reward of coming to this ship is up here, where we learn one of the best mechanics in the game. Not yet, first we want to come up here. I'm just the worst tease in this episode, and we almost have all the Jinjos. So, come on, Bottles.
This is your big chance, chicken legs. It's time for you to fly. At last. It better be easy, bog eyes. Simple enough even for you, bird brain. Just stand on a flying disc and press A. Here's 25 red feathers to help you into the air. See you. Nice going. You've learned all the Cove's new moves.
Game is also nice again about telling you when you have all the moves, so that's nice. From this point onward, and this is one of those tutorials where he actually tells you more when you're in the tutorial, but as he's saying, you just need to fly higher with A. The thing is, since you're carrying a heavy bear, you can't really fly that effectively. And this is something I just learned on my most recent playthrough, is that if you hold down a bumper while in mid-flight, you turn very sharply and you steal Grunty's gold. That golden treasure was for me. Now harder still the game will be. One of the few instances in the game where Grunty will taunt you directly in the world you're in, instead of just in her lair. And we got a shark. I don't like sharks. Lovely. And this is Snacker. He makes the waters dangerous. There's a more easy way to deal with him later, but by the time you learn that new move that will help you deal with him, it's just not really worth it anymore because, well, presumably you're done with Treasure Trove Cove. Like I've said before, Banjo-Kazooie is very contained in all its worlds. You can get everything on the first go, almost. And in that regard, I'm looking for another flight pad, by the way. In that regard, if you get everything in your world on your first try, you don't really have any reason to go back to the other worlds, unless you need to, like... I mean, if you get everything, there's no real reason to go back except for fun. So now we're flying again, and like I was saying, you could have had an easier time about getting the clues to the treasure chest in the last episode if you hadn't done like I did, and you just flew from one place to the next. But I don't do that because the problem with that method is you miss out on a lot of notes. And just making sure I got the notes on those palm trees before I come and circle down, whoa, like that, and talk to this bucket.
Me leaky. No good for water. Can bear block hole with pebble?
Well, I don't have pebbles, so I guess I'm gonna leave. No, he's talking about eggs. Now, interestingly, you put 2 eggs in there, and he's like, leaky patched up. Now empty water for bear. Drains the water. And, for some reason the game did not show the mine above the sandcastle exploding. Was it already dead? Did it just animate that? Well, if the mine was here above the castle and you drain the water, it would just explode on contact. So now we have this submerged sandcastle, and we're gonna go check out what's inside.
Hey, Furball, you're looking wise. Solve my puzzle and win a prize.
So this is the cool boss crab that is the boss of all the crabs, maybe, but he's hanging out in a cage, and I don't know how he got in there, but he doesn't tell you what exactly you have to do in here, so you're just kind of left with these letters trying to figure out what you have to do. It's almost as though you have to spell something. Okay, I'm gonna stop being condescending for a moment and just actually get to it. They do put a timer on this, and one of the most tricky things about this is really just dealing with the angle some of the letters go at, and these letters being over here and hard to find, whereas some letters are easier to see than others. You might get an N mixed up with a Z, but other than that, this isn't really that hard. Oh wait, Banjo, not Banja. And we saw that the K was down here, so we're gonna get that. This is actually kind of a recurring theme in Banjo-Kazooie, which is a little weird. Even though this seems to be their first time in Gruntilda's lair, and this is their first time meeting Grunty, there's a lot of evidence of Banjo and Kazooie in these worlds, like pictures of them, references to their names, just a lot of stuff that seems a little bit out of place, but the game gets away with it because it's very self-referential without being too hammy.
The gate opens to reveal your prize, but first I'll cut you down to size.
So this crab is actually a little bit tougher. He can take a beating, but he explodes like all the rest. And with that, we get our first Jiggy. I mean, our 8th Jiggy. I mean, it's more like our 20th Jiggy, but whatever. The counter at the bottom reflects your count for that world instead of your total Jiggies overall, which I actually do appreciate because it shows you what your progress in the world is like. Banjo-Tooie will show a counter for how many Jiggies you have overall, and it's, I don't know, I just like to know how many I have in a given world, because the number of Jiggies I have is never an issue since I'm collecting them all, but then that complements my playstyle and not necessarily everyone else's, so it's fine. So now that we've taken care of that sandcastle, for now, spoilers, we're going to be coming back later, we're going to be going up to the top of the island, and I could fly up there, but I am going to take these stairs up, mostly because there's just a note right here that's kind of easy to miss, and we're going to fly up to the top of the island. And I really like it up here. The atmosphere up here is beautiful. I really like the grass. I like the small area, and I like how the music just kind of fades into a wind. This is a bit of another recurring theme in the Banjo-Kazooie theories, is that high-altitude areas have a chance of not having any music, and I like it. It's very eerie and lonely, and I think it goes very well. And we got hit by him, and he's like,
Look, nice snacks for Yum Yum.
and we explode him like all the rest. And I think this is actually our last Jinjo right over here. You've been awarded a gamer pick. Lucky you. Oh, that's another thing. And that's 9 of 10 Jiggies, by the way. In the Xbox Live Arcade version of the game, you get like rewards like gamer picks for your profile and things. So that's nice. I don't know. If you like it, sure, okay. It's nice little aesthetic thing, but it's whatever. it doesn't hurt your experience, it doesn't take anything away, so it's fine. Now as we flutter up here, we're going to reach the top of the island, and we still need to get the honeycomb pieces, I think. But before we go to the through the lighthouse door, we're going to hit this witch switch, which is going to fire a cannon and put another Jiggy in the hub world. And we are going to open this door and get a Mumbo token and leave, because that's all there is in there. But not really. I don't know how I feel about them putting that there, but whatever. And like I said in the last episode, they like to put Jiggies at the very top of the level, and this is very nice in this level because this is the first level with a real sense of scale. Mumbo's mound was kind of small, even if the termite mound was pretty high up. But I digress, that's all the Jiggies and all the notes. Now we just need to get, I think, the honeycomb pieces, and I know where they are. There's one right down there, and with my help, I'm gonna jump! Uh-oh. And I died. Oh well.
What's wrong, Banjo? Is it tough? Let me know when you've had enough.
So your first time that you die, she'll taunt you. Only your first time dying. I didn't actually mean for that to kill me. That was a little bit of an accident. So before, I'm actually gonna fly to the honeycomb piece that I was looking at, so I'm gonna want to get to a flight pad, but yeah. I didn't mean to die from that. That's just kind of a habitual thing when playing video games, particularly platformers that let you get up to high places, and more sandbox games, but there's a sandboxy feel to this game that when you get to the highest point of a level, it's very tempting to just jump right off. So we're gonna fly over to that honeycomb piece. Whee! That's kind of ridiculous. I don't know why I did that. It's still kind of a crazy move to me. And I just learned about it recently, so it's cool. So we're gonna pick up that honeycomb piece, and the other one is in a corner somewhere behind one of these. Like, it's in the water behind a ledge. I think it is over there. Around here. Or over there. Hey, look, Nipper's back. If you die, all the enemies in the level will be reset. And you know, that's actually another cool thing about Banjo-Kazooie, is that if you don't die, that there's object permanency in the world. Enemies will stay dead, and more interestingly, drops like honeycomb health, those stick around. You may have noticed that. So when a honeycomb appears, also by the way, we gotta get away from Snacker. Oh god. And he bit us. Right in the butt. And that's a really nice thing about this game, and I think it's cool, because most platformers don't do that, where if you kill an enemy and they drop a honeycomb, that honeycomb is going to stay there until you die, leave the world, or pick it up. So you don't have to just pick stuff up right away, and you can just kinda hoard it and leave it lying around the level as a nice present for if you do take damage and you do need a healer. And since the enemies stay dead, this is also more useful, because if you do take damage there and you just excessively take the thing, you will not have a good time. So we've now finished with Treasure Trove Cove, and that's very nice. We've gotten everything, but there's one more thing I want to talk about before I end this video, and that's this place right here. This is Shark Food Island. Shark Food Island in most versions of Banjo-Kazooie would be submerged. If you don't own Banjo-Kazooie or Banjo-Tooie on the Xbox Live Arcade, along with Banjo-Kazooie, this island would be down. And oh god, and we're gonna come in here, and we're gonna get some really triumphant music. And this is the only time I'm gonna really talk about this, but Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie on the N64 had a thing that they never implemented called Stop and Swap, where if you bought Banjo, what they wanted to do is make it so that when you bought Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie, you would be able to put Tooie in, swap the game out mid-play, put the other game in, and then with like the RAM of the N64, it would unlock certain areas in the game, like this one. This is Shark Food Island. In the N64 version of the game, you can unlock this area with a very long password, but it does nothing. And up here, there would have been an egg. You see, it stays consistent across all your files whether or not you've gotten all the stop and swap items. And this is just fine. So if we go into our totals and go over here, we can see Stop and Swap. So there are 6 eggs and an ice key, and these are relevant in the next game, and we'll be going into most of the areas where the eggs and things are, just as a nature of the game, but that's just how it is. You can't collect these items multiple times, and I think that's mostly because if you go into Banjo-Tooie, it's just gonna check your file to see if you've collected them once in any file, and then those will appear in those games, and you can use them for stuff in that game. And they kind of refined this, sort of, in the Xbox Live Arcade. They brought it back, because it wasn't in the N64 version of the game, so they actually tried to implement it with mixed success. I'm not going to go into it, but what Banjo-Tooie on the N64 did is it put little cartridges for Banjo-Kazooie, little Banjo-Kazooie cartridges that you could break open and get the stop and swap items there, a few of them, and get some unlockables that were really nice. And that's all I really have to say about Shark Food Island and Stop and Swap. I hope you enjoyed my talk, and I'm going to be exiting this world now. Bye-bye! Also, that's also not quite the end of the episode, of course, because before I go, I'm going to want to just grab this Jiggy before I turn off the game and forget about it, and then get to the end of the game, have 99 Jiggies, and go, where's the last one? So I'm just going to grab this Jiggy and finish up this episode. So that's 3 Jiggies of Gruntilda's Lair, and that is the second world. So in the next episode, we're probably going to be going right for the next world, and I'm going to start heading toward the portrait as I close out. So yeah, if you want to see where we're going in the next episode, if you want to see the next world, incidentally though, you don't actually need to beat the next world to proceed through Grunty's Lair, so it gives you a little more leeway, but you may as well get stuff while you're around. You may as well do things progressively, but, you know, play how you want. But yeah, I think I've done this outro long enough. If you want to see where this jump pad leads in the next episode, if you want to see where it leads, then I just hope to see somebody in the next one. Bye-bye!